We're gonna build us a Pietenpol. Plans came in this week. Wife said that the supplies of bots come in, something I've wanted to do for years. And I've always told myself I didn't have enough room. I probably don't have any place to put it or enough room, but I finally decided that I'm gonna do it. Or I'm gonna try to do it. We're gonna see how well we do. I know it's a big project, it's a big undertaking, but I think it's something I can do. Just getting off of a trip, going home to get all the new goodies that just showed up in the mail. I'm excited. I can't wait to get started. So this is going to be all about us building this Pietenpol. Going to probably be a total of 2 people that are interested in this, and one of them is probably going to be my parents. We're going to do it anyways, and you're going to join us along with it. The blueprints, which come directly from Bernard Pietenpol's son, Andrew, are the original 1933 prints. They also include addendums for a longer fuselage to accommodate bigger and different engines, as well as different styles of landing gear. So after looking at the plans and using this book put out by Pietenpols, I'm determined that we're going to start with the vertical stabilizer first. Something a little bit easier to build. Yeah, Hudson's helping me here. So yeah, that's where we're going to start. So here's my workshop. You know, like I said, it's not a ton of room. There's Hudson. And it's not the cleanest. And it's always under constant bombardment by kids' toys and projects. So, like I said, not a lot of space, but I think we can make it work. So the plans, not the best. These plans give very little information as to what goes where. So I'm having to use information from other sources along with the plans to figure out which pieces to use. So it's kind of tedious. We're going to start with the leading edge. We're going to draw it out on this piece of medium density fiberboard that Hudson and I went and picked up today. Trace it out, make a jig, and we bought a kit from Aircraft Spruce for the leading edge. It all seems to be there. I haven't taken it out of its old bundle yet. But one thing I don't think is enough or available is there's supposed to be white pine to make the top curve, which they don't include. Not that we can't find some white pine laying around anywhere. But I'm not sure. Pricing wise, it's a little bit cheaper than just buying the raw material, but I don't know if I can do this without screwing it up. And if I screw up one piece, we have to stop everything we're doing and wait for another shipment to come in. So this was a test run. We bought one kit, and this next go around we may just buy raw material and cut it from the raw material now that we know a little bit what we're doing. But this is what we're starting with the leading edge, and we're going to go from there.
Bye-bye. That's funny. Process you just cut out.
Yeah.
But maybe the last process, like putting it all together, might be a little bit easier.
Yeah. Well, the hard part is you have to draw out what you want and measure everything, because this is going to be a jig. And so what we're going to do is once we get things drawn on here, we're going to take some of the boards We're going to screw them on here to make a pattern, and we're going to lay the wood in between that pattern. That's what a jig is.
Oh.
Yeah. You can help me screw them on. How's that sound? Sound good? Okay, cool. We got to work drawing out our vertical stabilizer on our jig. The plans, from what I understand, were drawn by Bernard's 17-year-old neighbor who had taken a class in drafting. Mr. Pietenpol had never actually drawn out the plans to his Pietenpol when he decided he needed to have them drawn. And sometimes, though I think the information is mostly there, the information is a little bit scattered around the pages, hard to find, and sometimes has to be taken from different drawings to find the correct measurements. And it makes for some pondering and some searching and a whole lot of thinking. A whole lot of thinking. Hey, an airplane! Eventually, the rest of the family had to come out and see what we were working on. They were all interested to see what Hudson and I had been sitting in the garage for all afternoon. How you doing, birthday Bob boy?
Birthday Bob boy. Birthday Bob. Birthday Bob boy.
Birthday West Bob boy?
Balloon.
How was your nap?
Oh, good. No, it's not a song.
She's just, I think he woke them up. She was going to see that they're screaming. Not like crying screaming, just
It's not a song.
probably for 20 minutes. Finally I was like, alright, I'm not listening to that anymore.
Are you being silly?
They always say. I'm three
I don't know what angle this is supposed to be. Let's see. We got back to work finishing up the drawings for our jig, and the family quickly got bored with watching me make little pencil scratches all over a piece of wood. And they went off to find something else to do with their time. At last, I was satisfied with my drawing enough to put some blocks in place to start forming up the jig. I used scrap MDF that I had laying around from a different project and cut them into 1-inch blocks to form the barriers for the vertical stabilizer. Even my trusty sidekick Hudson got bored watching me work. I was satisfied with how the jig turned out. I knew that some of the blocks would probably have to be adjusted, but it was a good starting point. It was time to start making cuts on the spruce that had arrived. I used an old jig that I had from a furniture build I'd done not too long ago to cut the spruce lengthwise to create the main beams. The jig worked pretty good, but it wasn't designed for lengthwise cuts. It was designed for up and down. So though it worked well for the vertical stabilizer, I think I'm going to make a different jig for the different parts of the empennage when it comes to making these cuts. It was really uncomfortable at times. So we got most of our pieces cut. There's a few pieces that I wasn't exactly sure on how they line up. This is kind of some of the stranger parts of these blueprints. Like these angles don't come completely together. Same with this. Some of that I think it's going to be gusseted, so you can just match it up and it doesn't really matter, but it is a little strange. This has got pretty sharp angles to some of the cuts. So what I did is I built this to fit in my miter saw, and then you can clamp your piece of lumber. Clamp a piece of lumber on using this guide and run it through the saw, so it'll give you a sharper cut. Before I started gluing, I used freezer paper to line the jig to keep the glue from sticking to the MDF jig. It's just simple butcher block paper, butcher's paper, and it's really easy to use. You can just cut out some pieces, tape it down or not tape it down, and when you're done, throw it away. The glue doesn't seem to stick to it. I've used it on other projects, and it worked really well, and I was satisfied with how it worked on this project too. It's a great idea. I've seen all kinds of different ways of doing it, people using different types of non-stick surfaces to keep their glue from sticking to their projects. This way worked really well for me, and I was happy with it. So, this glue has to be poured out in equal parts. 1-to-1 ratio. And in the absence of a scale, I'm going to use this little cup because it's got real fine volume measurement. So I can use that to measure it'll work for today. It's not the best, but it'll work for today.
Well, it worked for the day, but it's not the best.
No, because you can't really use these cups over and over again. And we have a whole bunch of them, so you just throw it away and use another one tomorrow if you need to, but it's really kind of a one and done type of thing, because otherwise the glue will dry up inside of it. At least I think it will. Alright, so what we need to do, these are all in place. This stick here, this is here, and we're going to glue this one. This is the plan. Get it out. So we need to put glue here, and we need to put glue here. We're going to put it in place here, and then we're going to clamp here, and we're going to clamp there. And we should be good. Leave it.
Why aren't you going to be gluing the other pieces?
There's not enough clamps to glue them all. So we'll glue these two joints, let them dry overnight. Then we'll come back and glue this joint, and I'll probably buy some more clamps tomorrow.
Why?
I have enough. And then we'll put in our braces.
The last few pieces you have to put in?
Mm-hmm.
Say here we go. See how it changes color? Yeah, it kind of turns kind of a pasty white. you believe you got it mixed up.
It's really good mixed up, so it works the way it's supposed to. Alright, you're going to be the first gluer of the airplane. Alright, here, take this stick. Get the glue on it for you. Just going to smear it all over there. Good. Now, take your sticker.
I'm gonna put some on there.
So it's all thoroughly coated. Alright, dude, you ready? First piece going in. First glue. You watching?
Why are you clamping that in?
You gotta clamp glue so it hardens. It's got something to harden against. 'Cause the glue takes a little bit of time to settle. So we made our very first glues of the project. Hudson was the very first one to smear a little bit of T88 onto the spruce. So we started with the base and got a nice good clamp on there, so they should set pretty well. A lot of shimming to get all the pieces at the right levels. So fortunately I'm out of clamps, or I would do some more. So we're gonna let this dry up and then we'll move on. Join us next time as we continue working on our vertical stabilizer. We cut and form our gussets, glue them in place, and we run into a slight problem with the plans. I don't know which one's right. I think I'm going to err on the side of caution and just go to 3/16.